Okay, Deeper Life Ministries. This is who we are. We are a ministry anchored in Christ, and we help. Our objective is to help and equip Anabaptist individuals and churches to disciple and to be discipled. So, some questions. Why does DLM exist? So, there's four things I'd like to talk about just in this part here. Why DLM exists. Usually, a business, an organization, or a church exists because there's a need. And DLM is kind of like that too. We exist because there's a need. DLM seeks to minister to individuals or couples who are struggling in their lives and want help. So we're trying to meet a need in that way. Here's a quote from a seminar. Dave gave this topic, and he said this in this topic. He said, "To maintain healthy body life takes much time and involvement by everyone in the church. Church leaders are not the ones to do all the work, but they are to make sure the body is equipped to do their part in this work. However, if something is missing, our church may be able to limp along, but it will not be as strong and healthy as it could and should be. Every church body is only as good as the individual responsible. Every church body is only as good as the individuals responsible for it and the individuals in it. It is a reality that in the area of discipleship, Anabaptist churches tend to be lacking. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. Leadership teams many times are stretched very thin and feel they cannot reach around. For this and other reasons, the vision for mentoring is missing. This reality can be corrected, but it involves changing some thinking about discipleship and mentoring. These two words describe a major piece of New Testament body life that Paul established for the aid in pursuing God. Anabaptist churches are missing this major component of church life. It has largely fallen by the wayside in Anabaptist church settings." Now, this may not be true of your church, but as we observe, it's true of many churches. It tends to be lacking. It's not like it's missing everywhere. Some churches actually cultivate it. And so that's a challenge to think about this need. And in some ways, Deeper Life wants to come along and assist the church in discipleship. So that's the need. The vision, the need is that people have difficulties handling life and relating to each other. I'm sure you can identify with that. People are reluctant to share their troubles with others that know them. That's not always true, but it's often true. And the last one, the church is weak in helping those who have such difficulties. I'm not saying this church, but generally, many people don't have either the desire or the know-how how to actually get involved in helping. And so it's a challenge to actually become equipped. So that's the need. The vision, DLM's vision, is to help strengthen, motivate, and equip Anabaptist individuals and churches to disciple and to be discipled. Disciple making is what is being done and taught at Deeper Life. DLM is a collective assignment that represents the vision of several Midwest Mennonite churches. The vision is to help strengthen, motivate, and equip Anabaptist individuals and churches to disciples and be discipled. Making disciples is a mandate for all Christians by Jesus. It involves conversion and sanctification. The church was created in part to facilitate that mandate. Its responsibility is to teach, enable, and promote that vision, that mission. Our objectives, and those have been the objectives for Deeper Life from the get-go since 1994. It's to help people with problems. It's to train people to avoid problems and to train people to help others with problems. And this is a lot what Deeper Life is known for counseling. And what is counseling? Several questions we frequently get asked are what we believe and how we counsel people. That is, what forms the basis of our counseling. All counseling models have some form of ideology. And an ideology means the beliefs, paradigms, and worldviews that form the foundation of the counseling given. The ideology drives what the counselor teaches, the goals they establish for the ones they help, and the means used to reach those goals. One ideology is what I call psychological, the other is biblical. There are others, but those two are the predominant ones. You either have one or the other, or a combination of the two. So here's biblical counseling. DLM bases our content and approach on a biblical ideology. By biblical, we mean a belief system based on God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and the principles and revelation about God documented in the Bible. This belief system includes the understanding that people are created by God with a body, soul, and spirit. The Bible describes people as having a heart, which implies the soul or the inner person. The heart, or the human nature, was designed to worship. To worship means to have an extreme devotion or intense love or admiration for something. People worship what they value. All people value something. They do it all the time. There are always things that are very important to every individual. The original intent was for people to worship only God. On the other side of the biblical view is a humanistic worldview. And this is what we understand as a psychological worldview, is the predominant view of humanity in the world today. By psychological, we mean a belief system that is based on a humanistic and godless worldview. That worldview understands life from an entirely physical aspect. Psychology is portrayed as scientific, but in fact, it is simply another faith system, only without God. In this worldview, the problems people face is the result of their environment, genetics, or brain chemistry. With this, then, is also a problem. So, when we think of from a biblical worldview, what is the problem in this world? We'd say one of the most basic problems with people is that we are fallen. We're sinful. And so the answer to our sin is we need a Savior. Psychological counseling doesn't even touch that. There is no God, there is no sin, so there's no answers to that. But from a biblical basis, that's what the Bible teaches, is man's problem is kind of twofold. One, first is sin, the other is suffering. And so people need to learn to deal with their sin or deal with living in a fallen world. And many times, it's true, our bodies are broken, our minds don't work like they're supposed to, and so we need to learn how to actually live with broken bodies. So the solution is the Lord Jesus and the grace that He provides. Medicine can help. There's many other things that can help, but those basic things need to be there in order to actually live a fulfilling life. So that's what Deeper Life seeks to do, is practice and teach biblical counseling. So where is DLM? Well, DLM is located at 5123 Converse Huff Road, Plains City, Ohio. So this is kind of where we're located. We're just about northwest of Columbus, about 15 miles out of Columbus. So kind of central Ohio. What is DLM? Well, DLM, we'll go with the history first. So DLM, before it was DLM, it was known as Sunny Haven Children's Home. The facilities began as Sunny Haven Children's Home, and it operated from about 1970 to approximately 1992. Farm Villa Foundation Incorporated, it is actually a farm with 385 tillable acres. It has a cabin, a cabin and a house, a small barn, and 2 pole buildings. Currently, there are 2 handicapped children. It is Tommy Terrell, and he's about 64, and Bonnie is 66. And so they live in this farmhouse, and they also have a family that lives there with them, kind of as caregivers. Tommy and Bonnie are pretty much independent, but they're getting up in age where they need some care. But this couple kind of oversees that. So there's also a board that oversees Farm Villa, which those are 2 local men and 3 Midwest members. So those would be from the DLM executive board. So the local gentleman would be, the chairman is Steve Helmuth, and the secretary would be Ken Martin. He'd be a Midwest member. Willis Horst would be on the board. Dale Miller would be a local man, and then John Miller is also on the DLM board. The president for Farm Villa would be Dave Snyder, and the vice president would be Alton Beachy. So Alton has been involved in Farm Villa since the get-go. And the vision for Farm Villa is to care for Tom and Bonnie until they pass. That was kind of the original commitment that Midwest Fellowship gave to Farm Villa, that they would care for Tom and Bonnie. And at that point, there was another man. His name was Johnny. He has passed on since then. So their commitment was to, when they took on this project, this facility, they said they would be committed to seeing that Tom and Bonnie have a place and would be cared for till they pass. So this farm is about approximately 3 miles from Deeper Life. So how it began was in 1993, the home was offered to Midwest Mennonite Fellowship. Midwest accepted the offer and used the facilities to implement the vision for a counseling center. In 1994, John Koblenz and Freddie Yoder moved to Plain City and began the work of Deeper Life Ministries. So this is the house. Well, they call it a cabin, but it's actually a good-sized house that's part of Farm Villa. And this would be the DLM facility from an aerial view. So in the back, you would see the staff housing. Then up front a little bit more is a couple of staff apartments, and we'll zero in on those a little later. And then the main building and part of that, the wing on the main building would be where the counseling offices are. And so we looked at a picture of Deeper Life. The main facility, about a mile down the road, is another property. Well, it's actually a couple properties, and there's actually 3 staff houses, 3 houses that currently, 3 of them, one is actually a duplex, so 2 couples live in that one. Our family lives in another one, and then a gentleman that does the maintenance at Deeper Life, he would live in another one. So we have a rental work agreement with him. So that's about a mile down the road, and it's, I'm thinking, like 5 acres. Some of you, I think, have helped, I think, re-roof some of those houses. I know some of you have a few years ago, so we'll talk about that later because we need to do that again. So that is just down the road. And this is at DLM. Again, in the back is another house. Let me see. This one is. Okay, this is the house just down the road. I actually showed you a picture of the 2. So those are the 2 in the back, and then out by the main road there's another one. So this is where the man and his family lives that does the maintenance. So we're going to have a facilities tour. So this is what you would see if you come in the main drive, sign of Deeper Life. And then coming in the driveway, this is a shot from the main building. And this is a place where people can sit to think or meditate. And this is the front entry. And then when you get inside, this is where the reception's desk is. And a bookstore. And this is what we call the main activity area. So this is where we have seminars. So the seminars we can seat up to 160 people. So it used to be max was about 120, but with doing the renovations, it can be up to about 160. And this is the kitchen. So there's one shot from the kitchen, another one. There's the same kitchen area. And then going down the main hallway. So on the first office on the right would be Dave's office. And then Tom and Diana's office. And then there'd be my office. And then we have about 3 different offices. We actually, through this project, through this renovation, we gained, I think, at least a couple of offices. And then this is Valerie's office. And Dave and Christine's office. And then a conference room. And then stepping outside, at the end of the building, outside is a picnic area. And this is a shot from ground level for staff housing. So the secretary and the domestic lady and the single ladies that come for counseling would stay in this part here. And then this is, on the one end is where Valerie stays, and on the other end is a apartment where couples can stay. And then just directly behind those 2 apartments is another house, and that's where Dave and his family lives. So that's just directly back there, and just another angle from the same place, of the same house. And these are the current staff at Deeper Life. So these are somewhat family pictures, some of us who are married. This is Dave Snyder. He's the administrator, and he's been at, his wife is Vonda. They've been at Deeper Life since 2008. They have 8 children. 3 are married, and they have 2 grandchildren. And this is Tom Johnson. He'd be the assistant administrator. And he's been at DLM since 2018. And this is Tom's wife, Diana. And she does a lot of the pocket seminar transcribing. So, well, a lot of it, all of it. So whenever there's a topic given, it's recorded, and then Diana would put it on paper. So types it out. This is yours truly. And my wife and I and our family have been at Deeper Life since, in Plain City since about, since 99. And we have 4 children. We have 1 that's married and 3 that are at home. And this is David and Christine. David and Christine have been with us since 2022. And the plan is for them to move home the early part of next year. And they're going to be counseling from Virginia, working for Deeper Life. So we're looking forward to trying a new venture. Appreciate David and Christine. David and Christine actually do marriage counseling at Deeper Life as well. And then there's Valerie. You know Valerie. Valerie has been with us since 2020. And she does the single lady counseling. And Angela Yoder, she does the domestic and the client supervision. She's the domestics and client supervisor. And she's been with us since June of 2019. And Lori Yoder, she's our secretary, and she's been with us since April of 2023. And then Russell and Regina Mast would be the seminar cooks. And they do a fine job of preparing meals, and they feed us well. And then our board members. So Willis, let me see, I have individual, let me go here. So our chairman is Willis Horst. He's from Arthur Mennonite Fellowship in Arthur, Ontario. John Miller is from Sandy Ridge. He'd be the assistant chairman, be Sandy Ridge Mennonite Church in Bremen, Indiana. Ken Martin would be the secretary, and he's from Crystal View Mennonite Church in Floridale, Ontario. Then Laverne Hirschberger, he's from Gospel Like, not too far from here, I guess. And then Fred Weiler, he'd be from Pilgrim Mennonite Church in Middlefield. And then Merle Gingrich, he'd be from Richland, Pennsylvania. He'd be a minister at Fairhaven Mennonite Church. He would be the Mid-Atlantic representative. And then David Miller would be from Peak Mennonite Church in Harrisonburg, Virginia. He'd be the Southeastern Mennonite Conference representative. So those are our board members. What does DLM do? So I mentioned a little bit about the counseling. So that's one of the things we do is counseling. And currently the schedule is, it's scheduled out about 5 to 8 months depending on the counselor that's requested. So we have 2 marriage counselors and 1 single lady counselor. So we don't have a huge staff like that does actual counseling, but the schedule is out a ways. So we do some counseling, then we do also some seminars, and the seminars that we do, let me see here, seminars. Sorry, let me back up to the counseling. So we do resident counseling, whereas people come in, single ladies usually come in, and they're usually for 2 weeks, sometimes 1 week, but often it's 2 weeks. So that's for single ladies and also married couples. Married couples usually come for 1 week. We also do non-resident, meaning people can have walk-in appointments or they can call in. So that's for anyone who wants to do that. And like I said, it's either over the phone or walk-in. We have a nominal room fee for people that stay there, and there's no charge for the counseling. It's on a donation basis. And the seminars that we do, these are annual seminars, so the Helping People in Need is usually in January. There's a marriage enrichment usually in April, and that is 1 on site and 1 somewhere else. So this coming year, like in 2024, one is going to be at Deeper Life, and then the other one is going to be in Belize. And then we have a single ladies seminar usually in the first weekend in August, then a faithful women in October, a faithful men in November, a family life that can be in various places, and a special requests is also at various places. And just a few shots from seminars. Just saying about the seminars coming up. So the Faithful Women this year is October the 7th, and the theme is Going for the Gold. The Faithful Men is November the 11th, and the theme is Passionate Purity, Preserving Sexual Health. And the HPIN, Helping People in Need, is January 16th to 18th, 2024, and the theme is The Heart Mender's Handbook, and it has to do with methods of counseling. The marriage enrichment is in April the 12th through the 14th, and the theme is Side by Side. And it's going to be one at Deeper Life, and the other one is going to be in June in Belize. And then the single ladies is that's in August 2024. So those are the seminars. And then one other thing we do is what we call a counselor apprenticeship course. This is a course that is usually we tell people it'll take you at least 6 months to go through it. So it's something that people can do. They can actually come to Deeper Life, and be there for 6 months and do this course, or they can purchase the resources and go through it on their own. So that's one of the things we do for training. It's a 16-lesson course, like I said, taken either on or off site. It involves reading, watching some materials, writing, observing, and interacting. So if they come for counseling, if they come for doing it at Deeper Life, they actually get more for their money by coming to actually be there, to interact, to actually sit in on actual counseling sessions. So that's one of the things that we do. We also have a bookstore. It's a focused content of, usually it has to do with ministry. We carry around about 900 resources with access to many others. So we have books, Bible, study aids, self-help books, topical pamphlets, pocket seminars, CDs, greeting cards. So just a variety of things. Another thing we do is what we call media production. So the media production is taking all the seminars, recording them, and then transcribing them, but putting them into book form. So that's what a pocket seminar is. It's actually a transcribed topic, but then going through and kind of put it so you can read it. Because speakers don't always speak real clearly, like in straight sentences, so it goes through a few hands to get edited. So that's what the media production is. So there's recordings, and we also do some video. So if you're interested in the YouTube channel, we actually have a YouTube channel where there's a number of topics there. So if you're interested, I think I have it accurate. So if you go to YouTube, not to Google, you have to go to YouTube and then type in there Deeper Life Ministries 3796. Should get you to our channel. Deeper Life Ministries 3796. If you're interested and you cannot get there, call Deeper Life and we'll try to get you there, get you through this channel. So daily routine. What does a daily routine at Deeper Life look like? So we usually open the doors at 8 o'clock, and so from 8 to 8:30, whoever is there has time to get ready for the day. At 8:30, we meet together as a staff and whoever is there for counseling. So from 8:30 to 9:30 is Bible study. At 9:30 to 9:45, we take a break. And then from 9:45 till about 12 are the actual counseling, where the actual counseling takes place. Then from 12 to 1, we go for lunch. And then from 1 to 3 is homework. Usually couples have homework, single ladies have homework. And then after that, the couples may have free time, the single ladies assist the domestic. So if there's cleaning to be done, the single ladies that are there for counseling, they would help out with that. From 3 to 3:15, the staff takes a break. And then every Thursday from 3 to 5, we have a staff meeting. And then also every other week from 3:30 to 5 o'clock, we have what we call staff training, where we go through some curriculum, where we have discussions about some counseling topic. And the question is about money. How does DLM operate? Where does the money come from? Well, here's a pie that kind of gives you an idea. So our operating income primarily comes from church donations or individuals. Church donations primarily come from Midwest Fellowship and other churches supporters as well. But Midwest does a fine job of supporting Deeper Life Ministries. Individuals' donations may be clients or supporters, and there's also some from seminar income. DLM has an endowment fund at Anabaptist Financial, so if people want to give through that, they can do so anonymously. And then there's also some from book sales, bookstore sales. and the future of DLM. So currently, there's projects. We kind of did a big project. It took over a year to do the renovation project. But then in April of this year, we had about a 10-15 minute hailstorm. And it did enough damage on about 8 roofs at Deeper Life, mostly the roofs that don't have metal on them. It basically made it so that we have to replace them. And so there's that, and it also broke some siding. So one or two of the buildings have siding, so it knocked holes in that. So that's some of the projects that need to be done. So here's maybe you got this in the mail. So roof replacements, those are coming up. If you're interested in helping, there's contact information. Basically what it would be is volunteers to tear off the roofs and possibly replace them. So if you can only come and tear it off, like some people don't have experience with putting roofs on, but most people can tear off. So if you're interested in doing that, contact Dave at Deeper Life, and he can give you more information. And then later on, we want to do some work on the cabin at Farm Villa, or the house there. So there would be some things that need to be done: remove wallpaper, paint walls, trim the doors, remove old flooring, and then there's some posts and fencing that need to be removed, and also some minor repairs on the house. And our goal is to expand our staff. So after Dave and Christine go back to Virginia, we are already looking for another couple for marriage counseling. We want to expand our distribution methods. So currently we do the pocket seminars, and we have them available, but we don't do a lot of advertising and distributing. So it's mostly word of mouth. And we'd also like to develop more Anabaptist materials. So we are your resource for help, advice, training, and encouragement. Please feel free to take advantage of what we have to offer. We are here for you. On the back table, we have, just outside the door on the left, is a PR table. You're welcome to browse there. And if you're interested in receiving the newsletter, there's a newsletter sign-up sheet there. Likely as a church you get it, but if you as an individual would like to get it, just fill out the form and we'll make sure that you get it. So, questions? Anyone? Some question or clarification?
The YouTube is Deeper Life Ministries Ohio, all spelled in one word. I just tried the other one, it doesn't work. I think that was the one they gave us last.
Say it again. Deeper Life Ministries?
Deeper Life Ministries Ohio, all
Okay.
together in one word with no spaces. Comes right out.
Okay, and no number.
No number.
Thank you. And is the Ohio spelled out?
Yes, spelled out as
Okay.
Ohio.
Thank you.
Am I correct that the residents of Farm Villa had been children at Sunny Haven Home?
That's correct.
Needed a place, so they've been there like their entire life.
That's correct, yeah. So these two, there were actually 3 individuals at the time where Sunny Haven was donated to Midwest Fellowship. And so they didn't have a place to go. Most of the other children either had gone home or went to other places, but these didn't have a place. And so they decided to keep them and take care of them. And that was part of what I mentioned earlier about Midwest Fellowship committing to taking care of them for the rest of their lives. So, yeah, that's right.
Are you replacing the shingles with shingles? damaged, hail damaged shingles?
I'm not sure, I don't, okay, the ones at Deeper Life, no. I think that's gonna be metal because of it's kind of open and wind. We got quite a pretty strong wind there. The houses at like just down the road, they actually are protected more. So yes, at the main facility, I think we're going more with metal. Yeah.
I think you said, but I missed it. How long does a session, like a counseling session, last? Is that 1 week, did you say?
For
Marriage counseling or single?
single ladies, usually it is 2 weeks. For married couples, it's usually 1 week. Yeah. And that's about 2.25 hours per day. So, like where it's actual counseling now, there's other activities that they are involved in, but that's the strictly counseling, yes.
Do you have a platform other than YouTube we can listen to your seminars and topics on other than buying an actual CD? Because a lot of our newer vehicles don't have those players anymore, so it's
Yeah.
podcasts or downloads.
Okay, we have a flash drive and CDs. I think that's all at this point, like an MP3 be in that format. But no, not beyond that. Not at this point.
I would highly suggest that.
Okay.
Because a lot of us like to listen to things that we don't read. I'm just going to be really vulnerable and transparent. If there's not Anabaptist things out there that you want to listen to somebody else's. So
That's right. Yeah. Thank you. That's a good heads up. Do something here. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Is there a plan, like for follow-up? Like, say someone comes for a week, and then how is that? Just if they have questions, they call, or?
Yes. So when people come, if they would like to come back, they are welcome. They're actually invited to come back, and we give recommendations of what they do, either with follow-up, either with us or with someone else. But most of that is left up to them. So if they want to follow up, they can make appointments, they can come back. But we try to connect them with people at home. Okay, sometimes people come and nobody knows that they're actually there. But if it's usually people know that they're there, we try to get the permission to actually interact with their ministry or someone from their home area to actually follow up with them. Good question.
This isn't really a question, but I enjoy reading, and so I always enjoy looking over your recommended reading or whatever you put in the newsletter. So I just want to thank you for that. It's good to have a reading that you can trust.
Thank you. And again, with the recommended reads, they're not all written by Anabaptist writers, and so you have to sort. But even like pick and choose what you read, like don't evaluate what you read, but even do that with Anabaptist writers, right? Or Anabaptist writers beyond that. No, you have to be discerning.
The apprenticeship or the training, what's the process for that? Pretty much just call and ask for?
Yes, okay. What you'd have to do is you would get an application and you'd have to fill it out, and you'd have to get some references. If you're not part of a church, then we're not necessarily interested in doing it. We want you to be part of a church, and we want to find out where your ministry are. Are they involved? Do they know about this? What's their perspective about this? So yeah, there's an application to fill out, and then some questions to see if we actually think you should do this or do something else.
Maybe I should ask, have you done a few, or is it fairly new?
The training?
Yeah.
No, we've done it for, I don't know, 6 to 8 years.
Handful of people or 20 people?
I would say, I'd have to think back, at least 20. Yeah, whenever somebody comes and wants to work there, they actually have to go through that process. So I think, did you go through it, Valerie? I think so. So it takes, okay, I think we asked Valerie to kind of track her time, to actually that's invested in it. And I think it took all of what, okay, I think there's 16 lessons, and it took about a week a lesson. So that's 40 hours. Is that right? So depending on what your education is, how well you can study, how disciplined you are, all of that may shorten it down, but it's pretty much 40 hours per lesson.